Calling people in. We live in a call-out culture which chastises people for their failures. How do we create a culture that invites people to do better? The news wants the latest scandal. An accusation is enough to bring someone down, but then the accuser often attacks in return, and no one cares about the truth. We look to the entertainment value of the moment, the audacity of the post, the aggressiveness of the tweet. Attempts to shame abound. Those who have no shame seem to survive, to offend again. Lies are substituted for the truth. The unproven is taken as fact. Science is rejected. Rudeness is rewarded. The news has showed me recently that even Canadians are having no truck with politeness as conspiracy theories clog the road to reason. There's no pleasing some people. To ignore them is to allow their lies to spread. To confront them gives their arguments credibility. To point out the reality of racism will get oneself accused of being racist. To point out that people are dying at the rate of 2,000 a day gets one accused of being a liar. The world is full of rapists and racists, polluters and disputers of the truth, profiteers that pay slave wages and deny health care to workers in danger. I want to call them out. I want them to hang their head in shame. I want them to change their wicked ways, but they only get defensive and accuse me of being offensive. In this contentious world, we're faced with four possibilities. One is to fight fire with fire. Two is just be quiet. Three is to be nice. And four is to overcome evil with good. Now, fighting fire with fire is tempting. It promises to satisfy our longing for vengeance. If someone hurts me, I hurt them. If they strike me on my right cheek, I'll kick them right in the face. I feel pain, and I want others to feel pain. I want my misery to have company. I want to insult the ones who insulted me. With this fire fights fire approach, there are three possible outcomes. A, we win. The other is defeated. They're humiliated. They walk away in shame. But being humiliated, they will feel resentment, and they will attack, probably a sneak attack, whenever they feel strong enough. So we must then forever watch our backs and create security systems to protect ourselves and the people we have defeated. B, we could lose. And then we become humiliated, resentful, lose our capacity to care. We can no longer envision a better world. We give up hope. Or C, we continue to fight. We descend into a never-ending spiral, exchanging pain for pain, dirty for dirty. We can't build anything good with others because we are too busy tearing each other down. Fighting feels good at first, but yields diminishing returns. So some of us may try option 2. Be quiet. And this can take many forms. It could be cowering in fear, hoping not to be noticed. People are often afraid to help someone else who is being bullied for fear that the bully will then turn on them. And then there's another way to be quiet. It's to pretend to take high ground. I remember learning as a child, I think it was from Thumper in the Bambi movie, if you can't say something nice, say nothing at all. But as I grew up, I learned about the tyranny of silence. When the AIDS crisis began in the 80s, polite society refused to talk about it. After all, it was only gay men and drug users who were dying. And a group called ACT UP took to the street, and they were loud, too loud to be ignored. They made it known that people were dying. And they chanted, "Silence equals death." They refused to hide in shame. They demanded respect. Martin Luther King Jr. said during the Civil Rights era, "The ultimate tragedy is not the oppression and cruelty by the bad people, but the silence over that by the good people." There comes a time when silence is betrayal. During Black History Month here in our sanctuary, we have posters of different sayings and events during Black history. And one that I wish to lift up for you today is by Desmond Tutu. "If you are neutral in situations of injustice, you have chosen the side of the oppressor. If an elephant has its foot on the tail of the mouse and you say that you are neutral, the mouse will not appreciate your neutrality." And the third option is to be nice. Just let people have their say. Don't make waves. Politely ask the oppressor to take their foot off the neck of someone. And nice, I was taught to be nice, and I'm generally a nice guy. But there's a compromise quality to niceness that says, wait a minute, we can't compromise with evil. The founders of this country compromised and declared blacks to be 3/5 of a person. And that was 100%, 5/5 wrong. Some say it's not nice to teach our children this sad chapter of our history. It seems that some of these recent school board meetings around the country talks that you have to be carefully taught to hate, and they are singing that song without irony. We cannot compromise. The truth must be told, even if it is not nice. It's not nice to point out that some members of Congress encouraged an insurrection. They tell us it's not nice to call it an insurrection. But what else can we call a mob of people in the Capitol calling for the life of the vice president and flying the Confederate flag? It wasn't an insurrection. And we must tell that truth, even when it's not nice. But somehow, when we are telling the truth, we have to keep from devolving into that fight culture that we have, where we have to seek a positive justice. It's not enough to just say, stop. We have to find a way to invite people to something better. We can't just call out people and say, you are wrong. We have to invite them and say, I can tell you're distressed, and there's a better way. Join us. And that's that fourth option of overcoming evil with good. We cannot remain silent. We must speak, but our actions must speak louder than words. We do good because good needs to be done. I want all COVID cases to be treated, even those who contracted the disease by ignoring scientific recommendations, even those preachers and politicians who knowingly lied and tried to pretend that there wasn't a crisis, or that God and magic would make everything go away, even those whose actions caused the death of many who trusted them. They have a right to treatment because it is the right thing to do. And I don't want to get caught up with the petty vengeance that has been directed towards me and my kind. Because it's easy to get distracted by people looking for a fight. And one has to deal with the obstacles that they throw in the face of progress. But we must not let them set the agenda. We must focus on doing as many good things as we can. And we must invite others to help us out. Screaming at people and telling them that they are evil is not the way to win friends and influence people. If evil continues to act to divide, we must act to unite. Because we're not just trying to save the planet for the working class. The rich will also benefit by being able to breathe and not having their luxury condos washed out into the sea. Do not take the bait of those who are trying to pick a fight. Outwork them. Spread messages of hope, and then work to make those dreams real. How do we here at the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of New Bern promote positive good in the world? We need to clarify our message. Our Universalist heritage affirmed that all people would go to heaven. It's not in our nature to warn people that they are going to hell. And so it shouldn't be in our nature to try to use fear to coerce people into good behavior. We should not be bullied. And we should not be bullies. Even as we are striving for good, we must avoid that self-righteousness. Call-out culture has the style of a puritanical witch hunt. Declare someone evil, punish them if they do not repent. Stop, repent, or else. Our Unitarian heritage emerged by rejecting puritanical culture. We should not be dragged back into it by the haters of today. Don Miguel Ruiz's 4 agreements are helpful in this way. Being impeccable with our words. May our words be encouraging rather than condemning. Don't take anything personally. Keep focused on the good. Ignore, hurdle, get around the insults, and move forward. Don't make assumptions. Let us do the right thing without preconceived notions of how things will work out. And if we find that we made a well-intentioned mistake, apologize and then try something new. Always do your best. Let us do what we can and then let it go. Perhaps the little bit that we do may inspire others to do more. We don't know the result of our actions. We have to find a way to get satisfaction intrinsically from doing what we think is right. And we need to invite people in rather than call them out. We have a lot to offer. First and foremost, we offer spiritual freedom. This is a rare and precious thing among religions and philosophies. If we were calling people out, we would just say, "Stop being a religious bigot." If we attack people, all that will happen is that they'll become defensive. But we can invite people in by saying, free your spirit. Explore the meaning of life. Build your own theology. Meditate with us. If we were calling people out, we would just say, stop being sexist and homophobic. But we can invite people in by saying love is love. Women's rights are human rights. Only you can define your gender. Love your LGBTQ child. When we call people out and declare them to be racist, there's a sense of you're racist and I'm not. But the nature of our country and perhaps even the world and our history of tribalism as human beings means that none of us are immune to this. And so, instead of saying, I'm the good guy and you're the bad guy, we say, we shall overcome racism together. Come learn and appreciate other cultures. We can build an inclusive community, celebrate diversity. When we're talking about the environment, we can call people names like, don't be a litter bug. But inviting people in, we say, come help us clean. Come walk with us along the riverbank. Learn to live in harmony with the earth. Eat local. Use alternative fuels. Sell people on the benefits of clean air and healthy water. Let us live lives of compassion. We gather together in this space and online to create a safe place for ourselves and others. The joy and fellowship that we share gives us strength to do good works. And part of that work is proclaiming the truth when others are proclaiming a lie. I'm a big believer in free speech, and I really dislike all the hate speech I'm hearing. But I don't want a government agency deciding who has the right to talk and who doesn't have the right to talk. The only real cure for bad speech is to flood the world with better speech. to win those ideas. And it's hard to win ideas when some people are working on fear. Fear always seems to win over reason, at least in the short run. But it's that persistence that we need to keep on doing the right thing. An image that helps me when I'm doing the right thing and I seem to be losing all the time is to think of a wave that crashes against the shore. Every time the wave hits that rock, the rock appears to win. The wave explodes and retreats, gets destroyed and retreats again. Any one wave can feel defeated in living the purpose of their lives. But over generations and with persistence, that rock of hatred washes to the sea. We must always work to make our ideals a reality. If we want a more loving community, each of us needs to be more loving. Dennis Hamilton, a minister friend of mine, said upon his retirement, "Being a minister made me a better person than I ever wanted to be." And I think we're all faced with that. We'd all just like to just kind of go along with our lives and enjoy our friends and family. But the world is calling us to be better people than we ever wanted to be. If we want a cleaner world, each of us has to make personal decisions on how to reduce our carbon footprint. For example, the building committee has set the thermostat to operate efficiently. Talk with them before touching the thermostat. As we learn to share a building with each other, we will learn to share the earth. What we have here is special. And it's worth sharing with others. Think of why you attend here. Think not about what you disliked about other communities. In new member classes, I often ask people to tell their stories, and so many people come here running away from some sort of abuse or oppression of their childhood community, religious community. And I tell everybody, focus on what you're running to and not what you're running from. If you keep on looking at the bad and looking over your shoulder, it's always going to control you. Be controlled by what good thing you're running towards. What invited you to this place? What positive thing can you share with someone else personally? I mean, we have a publicity committee and we have a membership committee, and we can do marketing in the traditional sense. But the most efficient form is personal invitation. What do you want this congregation to be And who do you know right now that should be here to help us be a stronger force for good in this community? Think about what ideals invited you into this place and share that invitation with others. May we bless and be blessed.